Hi, guys. I'm Nina,
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
and we are Bloody Essentials. We just wanted to thank everybody who's already supported the podcast. It really means the world to us, and it allows us to continue to do what we do. Also, shout out to Patreon Rick Paulton. Rick, thank you so much for everything you do for us. It really means a lot. And, this is the season of giving thanks. So we really appreciate you.
Yes,
You're the
definitely.
best.
Seriously. And for those of you that have been sending messages letting us know like what you think of the episodes, that really means so much to us, especially with all the work that we put in. Please continue to send your thoughts. We try to get back to those as quick as possible, but like I said, like that means so much to us to receive your feedback, even if there's some constructive criticism thrown in there. Um, that really means a lot to us to know that you're enjoying the content that we're putting out there. So thank
Definitely.
you.
We love to hear from you. So
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you guys. If you want to be mentioned in our episodes as well and receive fun little goodies from the entire Bloody Essentials team, feel free to join our Patreon. There is no commitment whatsoever. It's a month-to-month subscription, but you get fun little bonus gifts from us. Like we send you things in the mail, we send you a postcard, we send you gifts to show our appreciation. And we also have a Discord channel and monthly movie parties that we'll be setting up very soon. So you don't want to miss that. And also, like, you'll get awesome access to unedited episodes that aren't able to make it to YouTube. So
Ooh.
enjoy all of that. Whether it's,
It's good, guys.
some feisty comments from Ethan or bathroom breaks from all of us. Like, you
I
don't
would
want to miss
never give
that.
I would never give feisty comments.
There
Never.
are,
You?
yeah. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah,
yes,
thank
you
God for
you
editing.
you're
Right.
welcome. Yes. You definitely don't want to miss out. There's a lot of fun goodies, especially this past month with our American Psycho episode. Whew. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Settle
Yeah.
down, ladies. Settle down.
Patrick Bateman has never looked so good.
Oh yeah. I would like a business card, please, sir.
Yes. Ethan, would you like to mention the Horror House GoFundMe campaign that's going on right now?
Definitely. Our friends at the Horror House here in Chicago have had some issues with their landlord, issues with their plumbing for several months, and their landlord is doing absolutely nothing about it. So they have to move from their current location. They've lost a bunch of merchandise and product. So anybody who knows anything about running a business or the cost of moving is astronomical. So they have a GoFundMe page set up that will be in our description in all of our links. We're asking the horror community to go there and pledge as much as you can, or donate as much as you can. Nothing is too small, whether it's $1, $2, $5, $10. We know economic times are tough. We get it, but we all want to pull together and do what we can for our uh, horror brothers and sisters in the community. And Moses and Vinny, if you guys know them, they're awesome people. They would give you the shirt off of their back. Let's show them the love that they deserve, guys.
Absolutely. Show up and show out.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's what we as the horror community do.
That's what
Absolutely.
we do. We take
And
care
no
of each
one
other,
does it
guys.
better. No one
That's
does
right.
it better.
You can't spell
Absolutely.
scare without care, okay?
Oh, that's
There
so
you go.
cheesy and I love it.
There you go.
Well, it took me a while to come up with that one. I'd like to say I came up with it on the spot, but I did not.
Well, you could have fooled me. That was beautiful. Thank you,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
I like that. That was great.
Yes. All right. So, in honor of the 50th anniversary of this particular movie, we couldn't help ourselves. We had to talk about Mr. Leatherface and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG from 1974.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Very excited to do this movie.
Love
Yes,
this
I am
movie.
wearing my Don't Mess with Texas shirt that I actually got from the house where the original movie was filmed in Kingsland, Texas. It was an experience. Since I visited, there's new owners, so I can't speak for how it is now. But when I went upstairs. I don't think I was allowed to, but they didn't have any signs saying I couldn't. And they had a replica of Grandpa sitting upstairs in a chair by the
Oh,
window.
Totally
So
and
so
completely
cool.
jealous. So
I
yes,
know.
it was incredible. I also went and visited the gas station. I'm gonna share pictures to our Patreon of that visit. It was a very special moment. To actually stand where Tobe Hooper filmed this incredible movie. It was very surreal, and God, I love Texas. I mean, it's so beautiful. It really is.
yeah.
Texas is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, when was the first time you saw this movie? I mean, this is a classic, so
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw this sometime when I was a teenager. I'm not sure if I was like 16, 17, whatever, but it was just when I started kind of devouring horror movies, this was one I knew I had to see. I will say, I don't know if I've shared this story before or not, but my mom saw the original movie when she was younger, and this movie terrified her for like life. I remember when the remake came out and it was playing in theaters, I was hanging out with my mom and she wanted me to stay longer. She's like, we can go watch that Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie if you want to stay. And I'm like, oh, mom, like, we don't have to do
so
that.
sweet.
I'll stay. It's fine. And she's like, no, it's just a movie. And I'm like, it is just a movie. We should watch it. So we did. And she said she almost wanted to walk out like right away, but she didn't. So shout out to my mom. This movie scared her. I love it. So I don't talk to her about it too much.
Nice.
Well, Mrs. Verwys, we appreciate your courage.
Yes. I think the first time I was relatively young. I was probably 8 or 9.
Not
Again,
surprised.
probably should not have been watching it, but yeah, I was probably 8 or 9 years old. The movie's actually older than I am. So, yes.
That's a rare feat indeed.
It is. It is. But it is a great movie. And I remember when I was, young, that it scared the bejesus out of me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was one of the very last blockbuster movies I rented. I
Aw.
rented this with my dad when I was in high school. I was about to say when we were in high school. I was like, no. When I was in high school, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but it was very interesting because my dad wasn't into horror movies, but I was like, let's pick out some older movies, and this was one we watched together, and it's been very special. Um, I remember the first time I watched it, I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? Like, I don't even know, but there were definitely some moments that stuck with me, and I wouldn't say scared me, but they linger in my brain from time to time when I'm thinking about, you know, I guess you'd say iconic horror because this has the makings of iconic horror. This was
Yeah.
before the word slasher was a term,
Yeah.
1974. So
Yeah.
indie horror wasn't really thought of highly. Indie movies in general they didn't have the credit that they have now. So
Yeah.
Tobe Hooper is an absolute genius. Like we were so
Oh,
lucky to have him.
Agreed.
yes, we were. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh. And it's just
Yeah.
a stunning movie. I mean, like you said, it sticks in your brain. And I think like this movie, no other horror movie that I can really think of gives me that like an uncomfortable kind of voyeuristic, like I'm not supposed to be seeing this like
Yeah.
Mhm.
vibe.
Yeah.
They do that so perfectly in this movie. The whole time you kind of feel like it's something you shouldn't be watching, which makes it
Yeah.
Definitely.
amazing.
Definitely.
And those are my favorite kind of horror movies, Like
Yeah.
just you give that unsettled kind of vibe, like you shouldn't be watching this. Those are the
Yes.
best movies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you watch the heck out of it.
You can't help but look away because there's that feeling of taboo,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's yeah. Anyways, let's get into plot points, shall we, Jamie?
Oh yeah, let's do this. Okay. So this was probably the like, I don't know, millionth time that I saw this movie because I've watched
Sure.
this one a lot, but here we go. Okay. So, we get the iconic narration. I think all of us horror fans feel happy and good when we hear those words. We know we're
Yes,
about to have a good time.
definitely.
um and I've always thought the sound of like the camera like flashing or shuddering or whatever is so
Yes.
creepy and
Oh my
so
God.
perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we get these like images, right, of these like body parts, and it's gnarly and it's awesome. We get these like weird, uncomfortable, like crunchy kind of sounds. The whole thing is like just starts with like mystery and discomfort.
Can I just say, I think I will go so far as to say I think this is the first movie that really makes you feel like this actually could have happened. Like before Blair Witch, forget all of that crap.
Right.
Like this is the first movie that feels like a documentary. Am I
Yep.
right?
It
No,
does.
definitely.
It
Like
does.
I'm watching something that actually happened or
Yeah.
could
It
happen.
easily could have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it literally feels like you picked up an old camera that you shouldn't have been able to pick up and you watched the footage that was on it and found something horrible and lovely.
Yes.
Okay, then we get this newscast, right? And we're starting to hear about some grave robbers in Texas, and we get this beautiful cemetery scene with all this. I just called it corpse art, okay?
Yep.
He's an
Yes.
artiste. He's a corpse artiste.
Mhm.
So basically, somebody has been robbing graves and they've been taking the body parts, putting them into cool poses and stuff. Like that shot is just, it like pulls up, it stays. You see it. It doesn't like cut away. It's gruesome and like gorgeous. And I've never really quite seen anything like that.
That cemetery is absolutely stunning, by the way. It's incredible because when you go to that cemetery, you aren't expecting anything to be near it. And it's crazy how much the town has grown up around that cemetery. It is now in a bustling metropolitan area. But that cemetery looks exactly the same. The tombstone that had the corpse standing,
Uh-huh.
that was added. So that's not really there, but there are pennies marking the area where that stood, and people have left little memorabilia there to honor that. So yeah,
Aw.
just thought I'd share.
I love
Very
that people
cool.
honor it and like have a little pilgrimage there, and I love
Yes,
that.
you have
Jelly,
to.
jealous. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we get our van. Our van stops and they put out some boards to roll out Franklin, a fan favorite, right? We all love Franklin, don't we?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Uh, and so, they roll him down his boards and, he needs to take a leak and he ends up, falling down the whole hill and out of his wheelchair. And it's Franklin. Okay. Then, we kind of meet all of our main characters, right? Everybody's in the van. We got Pam reading the Zodiac, the astrology stuff, which I thought was so funny and so perfect.
it's funny and it's interesting, and it's interesting in the fact that like the 70s, like you don't see people thinking about astrology or anything like that, but you see people nowadays getting more and more into astrology, and it's just funny that it was so relevant even then. Like that's
Yeah.
to me, like that's a big takeaway for me. I
Are you
don't know.
kidding me? I know people who won't go out of the house because the moon and Jupiter circle around the second son of Mars. So, so yeah, it's pretty relevant. So,
It's ridiculous.
well,
Every time something's
seriously,
going wrong, they're like, "Oh, a planet must be in retrograde."
Yeah, I
Calm
know.
down.
right?
Calm
I'm
down.
like, settle down, people. Settle down.
We're gonna go off on a little side tangent. Why is it every time people like they're like, "Oh, when were you born? Like, what was your birth date? What's your sign?" And then you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." And I'm like, "What the fuck does that even mean?"
I
don't
know,
know what that
right?
means.
Although I will say, I met a girl. She was a friend of a friend, right? We're all hanging out. This is the first time I met her. And we are vibing like crazy, right? We're just vibing. And my friend is like, you guys have never met before? Like, seriously? And it's like, no, I love this girl. And she's like, when was your birthdays? And I was like, oh, June 1st, 1988. And she's like, June 1st, 1988. And we were both even born in the morning. I've never met somebody same year, same day, around the same time. So I will say we were kind of twinning, we were kind of Gemini twinning there. But
Eerie.
that's all I got. I think
You share
June
your
people are
birthday with
just
a
fun.
lot of famous people. You do. You have a very
Marilyn
special
Monroe,
birthday.
Danielle Harris. I got some good ones. Yeah.
You definitely do.
But you're the best out of all of them.
Shucks. Thank you.
You even go above Danielle Harris for me.
Oh my
And
god.
I love Marilyn, so you go way above. Yes.
Oh my god. Thank you.
Yes.
Anywho, I was wondering if you guys had a favorite character out of our like main group of people.
I love Sally. I was
gonna say. Well,
Always
if you
loved
couldn't
Sally.
tell by now that Ethan loves Sally from our last Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode.
Yeah. Sally wasn't in the last one, remember? The one we just did. That was not Sally. I don't know who the hell that woman was, but that was not Sally. Marilyn Burns is Sally. That woman was not Sally.
Yeah.
I think Sally has such a cute personality. She's very like bubbly and sweet.
Yes.
Sally is great. What is the other chick's name?
Pam.
Yeah, Pam.
I love me some Pam.
I love Pam.
I love Pam's red shorts.
I do
I
too.
bet you do. I love how she fills them.
Awesome. Okay. So our crew that we love are driving along, and they go to the cemetery to check if Granddaddy is still there, hasn't been robbed or anything like that. There's like some amazing low angle shots in this sequence in the whole movie. I just jotted down amazing low angle shot, so not sure specifically what it was. But yeah, they check in on that, and then they get back on the road, and it's like, what's that smell? There's like a stink in the air. So it's like start talking about the slaughterhouse, getting all nostalgic about that, and Franklin goes into describing all of the cow killing, and it's so intense but great scene.
Who invited Franklin? I know they say eventually, but who invited Franklin?
But it was his granddad, so I think he kind of had.
I know. It's his granddaddy, but whatever. Franklin's so annoying. Okay.
Yeah.
So then they see this hitchhiker walking down, and they're like, oh yeah, it's the 70s. We should pick him up. They're like, I don't know. He looks kind of weird, but they do it anyway. And then we are introduced to the amazing, amazing hitchhiker.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a t-shirt. I'm sorry. I have a t-shirt with him on it, and it's surrounded by bones, and it's got his iconic, I got this knife. It's a good knife on it.
What a great shirt. You'll have to wear that next time we see you.
Yeah, I love that shirt.
Yeah. I don't see enough shirts featuring him. Like, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Very underrated character for sure.
Yes.
I love the hitchhiker. Yeah.
I did too. I love this whole scene when they have the hitchhiker in the van too. It's one of my favorites. Somebody makes the comment, I think it's Franklin, says, I think we picked up Dracula, which I love.
Yes.
And I love when the hitchhiker says, his family's always been in meat.
Which is such a strange thing to say.
I know. Just imagine like picking this guy up. What would be going through your mind? Like,
yeah.
This is why you should always travel with a gun, kids.
This is why you don't pick up strange people on the side of the road. Like, 70s was a completely different time, man. 60s and 70s.
Seriously. I mean, he's over here. He's talking about how, his family worked the slaughterhouses. The old way is better with the hammer. He's got like pictures of the cows that they're looking at. They talk about the head cheese. Pam and I did not like that because that was intense. And then the hitchhiker notices Franklin's knife which he
Mm-hmm.
takes, and proceeds to cut his hand, which amazing. Like the hitchhiker gives such great face during the whole sequence as he's
Yeah.
looking around at them and he's like kind of smiling, and it's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then he takes a picture of Franklin and then tries to sell it to them, which is pretty
Right.
great. They're just like, nah, we're good. Kurt's over here like, how about you just be cool, man, and set stuff down and be cool. And so he proceeds to take the picture and put it on this paper with gunpowder, I guess. Is that what that
Yep.
was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gunpowder, lights it on fire. It's a whole thing. And eventually he cuts Franklin's arm and they kind of like kick him out of there. Our hitchhiker, he gets kicked out of the van and, you know, he's kind of like there. I love the scene when he's like kind of following after it and he smears his blood all over the van doors. So
Yeah.
just a little something to remember him by.
I think he was marking the van.
I always got that vibe too. He
Yeah.
was marking
Yep.
the van for people to find later.
Yep.
That's
Like
what I
the
got
cook.
too.
Yeah.
Especially as things start to come together. You're like, oh,
Exactly.
maybe Franklin was a little bit right on that one. Hate to
Right.
say that. Hate to say it. It hurts me to say Franklin was right. Okay. So they get to the gas station, which is awesome. So iconic. Again, that's amazing that you got to visit it, Nina. Like, amazing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Of course, there's no gas there. That's a bit of a problem.
Oh,
But then
it's
we
a
get
horror
to
movie.
yes. But then we get to meet the lovable cook, you know, and he's got barbecue and he's, you know, kind of trying to convince them, oh, you guys don't want to be looking around other people's properties. These girls don't want to be looking at this house out there. And he's like, well, it's Franklin's granddaddy, so we're fine.
Should have listened to the cook.
You
Right.
really should have.
For once,
Yeah.
the killer is trying to warn you.
Yep.
I know.
And I will say, being at that gas station 50 years later, they still don't have gas. So just so you know, but they do have amazing barbecue.
Okay.
Aw. And question, I always just kind of was curious, like, I'm curious what you guys think. Like, why do you think the cook was kind of trying to talk almost seemed like he was trying to talk them out of it, of course. Like, why do you think he was doing that?
I think it was kind of like a reverse psychology. Oh, you don't want to go up there. You don't want... And really, he wanted them to go up there. That
was kind of my
was
thought,
what I got
too.
out of it. Yeah.
I don't really know. I haven't really thought much about it. I think that, you know, I think he genuinely is just like, you know, be careful, like trespassing because you're gonna like we don't take kindly to visitors. We are from the
Yeah.
South. Like we will end you. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he has a problem being upfront about anything, honestly. He's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares either way what their decision is, but he's just like, if you do, you're gonna
Careful.
regret it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say I
Yeah.
didn't tell ya. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of us up in the north are like that too. We don't take kindly to trespassers.
So they don't get any gas, but they do get some barbecue. I will say
They
one of my
do.
favorite shots too is when Jerry is leaving the van and he's going to go ask if there's another gas station, and we get this cool pan around with the camera where the girls are at the vending machine. It's just such a beautiful shot. Like I'd like a image of it, like a still of it. Really, really cool camera work.
Really quick, Jamie, I just want to mention that the van that they filmed with is still there as well as the cook's truck.
Ah, that is so
Yep.
fun. Oh, that's
Yep.
awesome. That's special. So they go ahead and drive. They're heading off to Granddaddy's house. Somebody says it's the home of Bela Lugosi. Looks like the home of Bela Lugosi. So another little horror reference in there, which is really fun. Pam's outfit is everything because we get to see her like step out of the van and see it in its full glory. I really want to cosplay that and figure out how to make a fake hook, you know, in my back. But
Oh
Yes.
my God, yes.
ambitious, but we'll see what I can pull together at some point. But yeah, they pull up to the old house and they get out and start exploring. They go inside. The place is kind of like, you know, nobody lives there. It's all broken down and stuff. There's bugs. There's silly wallpaper. But I love Sally again because she's just so bubbly and sweet and fun. Like they're having a blast up there, just checking out her old room and everything. And then we got Franklin down there just being like, where, what about me? Like, get in his wheelchair, trying to drive in there, and he's like, it'll be fun, Franklin, it'll be fun.
This guy could not have died sooner. Like,
Right.
oh my God. Hate him.
And he lives longer than like a grip of our other characters.
Yep.
Only because he can't wander away as easily. That's the only excuse. Like, I
Exactly.
literally hate Franklin so much. So much.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a widely hated character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Every time I watch it, even the first time, I was just like, when is this guy gonna die?
I know. So they're, doing their little exploring, and Kurt and Pam decide they want to go check out the swimming hole that's in the area, apparently. But they get there, and it's just a hole in the ground with dirt.
I'm sure he just wanted to find a hole anyway.
And I really love, there's a scene where like Pam just like lays down on the dirt, and it's awesome. It's a great shot. And they start to hear like a generator. So they're like, hey, there's a house over there. Like, they probably have gasoline. I could trade them my guitar for it or whatever. And she's like, they're not gonna want your guitar, but let's go check it out.
No, they wouldn't have.
No, they wouldn't have. So they head up to this house, and they see like there's all these cars sitting in there too. I saw a couple punch buggies. I love those. So those were cute. And then they get up to the house, and Kurt gives it a little knock knock. He's like calling inside to see if anybody's in there, and this gnarly tooth like just falls or drops or whatever. It's really gross. It's like black, gnarly.
Yep.
And Pam goes to sit on the bench while Kurt kind of still checking things out, and he just steps right in. Okay, like, first of all, guys, just don't step right into somebody's house.
Especially
Don't mess with Texas.
Especially if you knock on the door and teeth are falling at you.
Yeah, red flags.
In the South, you do not enter someone's house without greeting them at the door first. Because they will have a shotgun ready. I mean, we weren't even in the South, and Ethan was ready to blow my head off.
It wasn't you, it was your counterpart.
No, it was both of us.
Yeah, so
like,
obviously
door
Kurt didn't get the message.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, my security alarm said the front door opened. So I drew my gun.
You were expecting company. God. Anyways.
So there's this great, when he gets in, I love, it's kind of like a split screen. You have like the staircase, and then you have that red room, which is so cool. You can see like kind of animal heads in there and everything. I just always thought that was the coolest. And Kurt is like inching nearer. We start to hear these weird little like pig squealing kind of noises. That's when I would say it's time to leave. I mean, I would never walk up to that house in the first place. But
no.
There's bones on the front porch.
Right?
No.
I know. But no, he literally goes into the little red room, and Leatherface hammers him in the head.
One of the scariest moments in this entire movie.
Yes.
He just grabs him, closes the door. Oh, that door.
And when that door shuts, oh my God, so iconic. Love it.
Oh, that door shutting is like what my mom remembers the most, where she said, she's like, sorry, Mom, I'm ratting you out. She's like, I don't like to sleep with my closet door. I don't like to sleep with my closet door closed, because I think of the door, and I'm like, wouldn't you not want it open? But she's like, I just think of the door that he closed, and I'm like, oh, it is really scary. So that's what stuck with my mom and really scared her.
It's okay, Mrs. Verwys. I still think of that door slamming shut too.
Yes.
Like, yeah. And fun fact, they did build that door, like the whole little area specifically for the movie. It's not there anymore.
Aw, it's so cool.
Times.
I know. Okay, and then we have Pam's infamous walk. I love it so much. So
Me too.
I know. Yeah.
Probably for different reasons.
Nope, I still love it.
good. And she was like working them little shorts. Anyway, she gets up. It's a low angle. You know, we get the red shorts as she walks up to the house. And then, you know, she makes the same mistake of just going inside, though. Like, I get it. Her boyfriend was in there and she's like, where is he and everything, I guess. But anyway, she walks inside. She's kind of looking around. We get some cool little POV moments, you know, as we're the inside of the space. And then she sees this little sliver of light coming from her room and she hears some scraping and stuff. So she goes into this room and she falls into chicken feathers and bones. And as she's lying there looking around, you know, it's like, oh gosh, there's just human bones everywhere. And there's like bone beds. And he's an artist, guys. He's a corpse artiste.
Yes.
And at this point, I'm out.
Right?
I would leave you guys here. I do not care.
No, you wouldn't leave me there because my fat ass wouldn't have went in there. So you would have said, let's walk over to this house. I'd have looked at the house and been like, nope.
I will say,
See way too many movies.
yeah,
Nope.
she stayed down on the ground way too long. Okay. No, the minute that I fell into the feathers and took a glance around, I'd be like, nope, we're getting up and we're jumping out the window. I'm not even going out the front door now. I am just getting out of this house right now. And hopefully Kurt makes his way back. Otherwise, there's other fish in the sea.
I would have army crawled out.
Right.
Straight up.
Yep. That ain't happening. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, you know, she screams and she's running out the door. And then we have Leatherface open that great door again and comes out. And we get that great shot where he grabs her like in the doorway. Another just really iconic moment. Oh, yeah. So good.
Incredible. Oh, my God. Terrifying.
So good. And then he brings her into the back room for the infamous meat hook, which I've always thought is so incredible because I was
feel
convinced.
That hook.
Yeah, I was convinced I saw it go through, but you don't. Like it just feels that way.
Yeah. We were all convinced that we seen it go through, but none of us seen it. So
you never see it go in.
Nope.
You never see it even come close to entering her skin, but you feel it.
Yeah.
And that's the power of the brain, man.
Yep. And just the like artistry of the people making this movie and had that vision and knew that they could do that like effectively. And I think like when everybody talks about this movie, they're like, oh, you know, so traumatizing, the meat hook. And then it's like, I know, but we didn't actually see it go in.
Right.
And that's why I get so angry with newer horror because it's like the imagination does incredible things. You don't have to show everything. You really don't. And I know people praise all these gore horror movies, but it's like you really don't have to show everything because the brain will make it even more like traumatizing than it really is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes what you don't see is scarier than what you do see.
So. Absolutely.
Totally. So she's on this hook, and I gotta say, like Pam grabbing onto the hook too, and like trying to pull herself off, like horrifying, you know, because you just keep sliding down on that thing, and Leatherface gets out his chainsaw and basically like is cutting up her boyfriend in front of her, which is pretty horrifying. Gotta say.
Yeah.
Pretty horrifying.
And also like completely dehumanizing, like utterly dehumanizing. Like people give credit to Michael Myers and, you know, Freddy Krueger, but I don't think Leatherface gets the love that he deserves. Like
totally
this guy is utterly brutal.
Yeah.
Vicious.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he doesn't see them as people.
No, not at all.
Like I said in the last Texas Chainsaw we did, he doesn't see his victims as people. Like they're not that for him. No. So we get back to the house and Jerry is teasing Franklin because Franklin's still freaked out by the hitchhiker, right? Where he's like, no, I think he's following us. And he's like, he's going to kill you. He's going to kill you, Franklin, which is hilarious. He's also stylish. His shirt is awesome.
Oh my God, he's great.
It's like paisley and I mean, ultimate like hippie dude. Like Jerry is cool while he lives.
He's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, Jerry decides he's going to go to like the swimming hole area to try and find, you know, their friends. And he heads off to do that. There's a really, really cool shot. Again, that low angle that makes you feel disoriented and everything while he's walking through the trees and everything is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerry gets up to our house and gives it a knock. Nothing's really happening. He's going to turn to leave, but he sees the clothes there on the banister. I think it's like a jacket. Is it Kurt's jacket or something?
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So he sees Kurt's jacket. He knows they're there. And so, he's like checking in there. He's hearing some weird giggling, which is a great sound. Like the sounds in this movie are so upsetting. And then he also steps inside this house and he's like, hey guys, cut it out. Stop playing games or whatever. And he walks into our room. We see the meat hook, that there's no Pam on it. And he hears this pounding on the freezer. And he opens it and then Pam pops out of it. So we never actually see her die on screen.
Right.
No.
Which is kind of
No,
fun.
we don't.
And as soon as Pam pops up, Leatherface does too, and just hits Jerry with the hammer. He's good with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
And then there's a moment where Leatherface just kind of sits for a second, and I'm like, oh man, Bubba, it was a big day for you. It has been a busy day, Bubba. He has a moment to himself, and it's been a big day for him.
Right. He did
He's
a lot
just
of things in
thinking-
the last hour.
Yeah. He's just
That he
thinking about what
wasn't
a great
expecting.
dinner he has planned for
Right.
his family tonight. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So we get back to Franklin and Sally. It's now night. They're there by the van. Obviously, they're worried. Franklin is being very Franklin about the whole thing.
Right.
Because she's like calling out for Jerry. And then Franklin starts calling out for Jerry. And it's like, oh, God, no, kill him already.
Right.
And, she's like, I got to go find them. And he doesn't want her to leave. And she's like, I can't take you with me. You're just going to slow me down.
Also, why do they think it's a good idea to go looking for someone in the dark in an area they're not familiar with? It drives me nuts.
I know. It's not good, guys.
No.
But ultimately, the two of them go off to search in the dark, yelling loudly for Jerry, making quite a scene. I love this whole sequence. Like, there's all these trees. It's hard to get through. Sally is trying to push this wheelchair, and those things are hard to move through dirt and brambles and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's hills and stuff. Yeah, no.
And you
That's not
hate the person that you're pushing,
Mm,
Franklin?
No offense, but Franklin's heavier set, so he's harder to push. She's a little girl. She is tiny. She probably doesn't have any upper body strength. It's no bueno.
Right.
Yeah. That was all just prep, all stretching for the the endurance race she's gonna have to do here the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
No kidding. This is Little League compared to what she's about to go through.
Yeah. So, Franklin thinks he hears something, and he sure does, because Leatherface just comes out of there, and he just drives that chainsaw right into him, which is great.
Yeah,
And then everyone applauds
Yes.
because Franklin's dead. So
finally.
Finally. I feel like even Sally was probably like, okay, finally.
she high fives him. I'll run now. Bye.
Yeah.
Deuces.
So Sally runs and screams for her life, and Leatherface chases her. The chase is amazing too. I love a good chase scene, and all the scenes where she's running through the trees, because it's hard to get through them. There's a point where she's on the ground. Really, really dynamic and cool chase scene that just keeps going and going.
Yeah, you really feel like you're there with Sally for sure.
Oh. And then Sally sees the house. She runs in. She's getting a look around oh, God. And of course, she runs up the stairs. And who does she run into? She runs into Grandpa.
Yep.
And we see Grandpa sitting there in the room. And she's like, oh. So she leaves that. And then there's Leatherface. And she does her leap of faith, which is amazing. Just jumps out the window. Which is that's what you need to do. That's the final girl way. You just got to jump out that window.
Sally is such a badass. I'm sorry. Jamie Lee Curtis, eat your freaking heart out. Like, Sally is perfect. She
She
has
didn't
more
hesitate.
courage in a pinky than Laurie Strode will ever have. No. No.
Yeah.
I know, Ethan, you're just like, don't
No,
you
no,
talk about
I'm
Jamie Lee.
agreeing. No, I'm agreeing. I
No,
agree with that.
That
she
was
is
a badass.
incredibly brave.
I love me some Laurie Strode.
I
Don't
do
get me
too,
wrong.
but
Did you?
Love me some Laurie, but
Sally has
definitely,
no fear.
yeah, Sally gives no fucks. Oh,
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. She didn't hesitate for like a second to jump out that window. In so many movies where there's like a leap of faith, you know, it's like that moment of like thinking about it, to do it. No, she didn't have any of that. She's just like getting out of here.
She doesn't even care if she lives at this point. She just wants to get away.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes a final girl, honestly. Like, you don't even care about yourself at this point. You just want to get away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, she hits the ground. She's hurting, but she keeps on moving, keeps screaming and running. Leatherface keeps chasing after her. There's a point, too, where he almost gets her, you know, and she slips past him. Again, just like a badass, she slips past him and ends up running to the gas station. And she's trying doors, and it's our cook who lets her in. And she thinks that she's found some help. She's obviously freaked, and I will say, like, there's the moment. So she's like catatonic in there, like terrified, like can hardly like speak or breathe, and she thinks that she's found some help. And he, you know, he's gonna go out to get the truck or whatever because they don't have a phone, you know, so they can't call the police. And there's that moment where she's sitting there and the door is open, and she's like watching the door. That to me is so scary. Like, I felt her fear there, like just watching that door, being like, he's out there though, he's out there.
The first time you guys saw this, and I know it's been a long time, but the first time you guys saw this, do you think the cook was in on it all the time, or did you think that he was gonna just die here?
I didn't really suspect anything until she went to that room, until she went to his when he left to go get the truck, and when he said they don't have a phone, that's when I was like, ooh, that doesn't seem good.
Same here. Yeah, I remember I was like, I didn't suspect him until that second. Yeah.
And it was so long ago, and I was so young, I don't remember.
That's fair.
I assume that's what I thought. I think that's what I thought. So obviously, you know, he's a bad guy too. He comes in, he's got a big burlap sack and some ropes, and Sally's like, hey, whoa, no, like, you're a bad guy too. He's like beating her with a broom at one point, and like that's terrifying. You know,
that is the worst.
Yeah.
He's just laughing and poking her with the broom or whatever. Just, oh my God.
I know. And so then, you know, he loads her into the truck, and like that truck scene I think is amazing because he's poking at her the whole time, and just like the giddy, maniacal kind of like way about him. All the characters in this movie are very good at playing like just psychotic. Like his giddiness is like psychotic and awesome.
Yeah. And he, like, none of these characters, none of the Sawyer family, they don't see any of them as human. Not at all.
No.
No.
They're just trespassers. They're pieces of meat. Like, they're less than human. They're dinner. Yeah, they're food.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So they're driving along. They're getting to the house. And in the headlights, we see one of our old friends. We see the hitchhiker there picking up some roadkill, you know, or something. And
what are you doing here?
What's up with this?
Picking up some sides for dinner.
Exactly. And then we get to the understanding that, okay, the cook and the hitchhiker are definitely, you know, related. They're tied to each other, and they're also tied to this Leatherface person. The little drive too. Once they see the hitchhiker and they drive to the house, I thought that was really tense and kind of scary too, just the way that they shot it.
Oh yeah, because doesn't the cook? He's just like run along with a truck. You won't even let him in the truck.
I think so. Yeah, he's just like he's not thrilled with the hitchhiker right now.
Yeah, that dynamic has always been very interesting to me.
Okay, so we drive up to the house, they bring her inside. The cook is already just like pissed at Leatherface, He messed up the door, he like trapped all into it and stuff, and when he was chasing Sally, all of that. Just the family dynamic there is a little rough. It's a little rough.
Can I just say, every single time we get to this scene and he's like, what the fuck did you do to this door? I laugh
Me
Yes.
too.
every single time because I feel like this is a genuine, like, family connection that almost everybody can relate to, like
Right.
the parent or the, dominant person in the family is just reacting and like, why did you do this? You're stupid. You're being ridiculous. And they're just like, "Ooh." Literally. Oh
I
my
know.
God. Such
I
a great
know.
moment.
It makes me laugh every time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tie Sally up, and we're gonna like have just a nice family dinner now here. Gotta get Grandpa
what
from
you do.
downstairs. Grandpa can't miss this whole thing. They get Grandpa. I love when they kind of turn Grandpa to see Sally, and then there's the finger suck. The fingers suck.
Yes.
The fingers suck. Oh, that's one of those that really sticks in your stomach because they take Sally's hand. Leatherface cuts her finger and then gives the finger to Grandpa, who just like sucks on it, like sucks the blood. You can hear it, and you're like, oh, that thing's alive. Grandpa's alive. I wasn't sure, but he's definitely alive.
Oh, so gross.
Fingers
So
suck.
gross.
Oh my God, that one sticks with you.
Yes, it does.
So obviously Sally is just in a horrible situation. We get these great like POV kind of like dizzy kind of camera work moments where we see her eyes, and we see her kind of looking around, and it is very disorienting and uncomfortable. You really feel like you're there with her. And then we get the just totally iconic, like anytime I'm thinking of a dinner scene in a horror movie, this is the one that probably comes up first in my mind, is dinner. I love like the headlamp they have above the table.
Oh my God.
Artiste. He's a corpse artiste. Okay. Really quality work there. And then, we get these like close-ups too of her eyes, and they're like taunting her. She's terrified when she recognizes the hitchhiker too, because she remembers him. But she's terrified. They're touching her and they're taunting her, and it's just scary. And I love these like up close eyeball scenes.
Yes, those are great.
Yeah, they did an incredible job. I know that I've listened to some special features and commentary about how it was so incredibly hot during filming of the scene. I can't even imagine.
Oh,
and the food was rotten. Like, you can just imagine what they were going through.
Speaking of the close up on her eyes, have you guys ever seen they have a poster and they have a T-shirt for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's got Texas, but it's got a bar across it. It's just got Sally's eyes in it.
No,
I need that. That is cool.
I wanted it, but apparently all the fat people had already bought it, so I couldn't have it. So
I'm sending hugs your way, Ethan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then they have this whole sequence where they're basically discussing like killing her, which is horrible to sit there and witness and listen to. And they decide that Grandpa should do it because Grandpa is just getting treated like crazy tonight.
Right.
They don't have guests over that often, I guess, or they do because there's a lot of bones. So they like set her up over this like bucket. They have Grandpa there. The hitchhiker,
worse than a freaking Bond villain right now.
I know.
They won't let it go. Like, clearly Grandpa's in no shape to hit a hammer anymore. Like, no, guys, like, come on.
I know. And they keep trying to get him to do it, and he keeps like just dropping the hammer or whatever, They're trying to help him. They're like, Grandpa, hit that bitch. And you're like,
but it's great they wanted to include Grandpa.
I know.
I mean, it's endearing at the least. Yes.
Family inclusivity.
It's love. Yeah.
No
ageism. No ageism in this household.
No,
okay.
Not
like
at all.
we don't stand for that here.
Not
everybody gets a fair chance. Okay. He can do it. He can do it. Just give him a few chances.
Right.
And he does hit her once, and it looked like it hurt pretty bad. But
not enough to kill her.
Not enough to kill her. But and so all of this is going on, and she basically is able to escape, and she runs off, jumps out another window without hesitation at all again. And she's running away, limping. They're following after her. Another moment of terror. And then they're running out into the street. The hitchhiker is like gonna get her, and then this semi comes along and just hits him. Yes. Except Leatherface is still, around. So like the truck driver tries to bring Sally in, but then like Leatherface is right there. So they just kind of crawl out the other side. The driver throws a wrench at Leatherface. Leatherface ends up like hurting himself with his own chainsaw, which I think is a really like fun moment too.
Mm-hmm.
But things aren't looking good, But thankfully another truck comes along, and it's a pickup truck. And she's able to just barely get herself into that truck, like just barely. And we have that beautiful, iconic moment where Sally is all bloody in the back of this truck, laughing, like again, the maniacal kind of like woohoo. And then we get the nice little chainsaw dance from Leatherface.
Yes.
And that's Texas
love the
chainsaw.
Love the chainsaw dance.
Iconic. All of that is iconic. Yeah.
Oh,
the maniacal laughter, but also a sense of relief too.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
She's been through so much. Like all you can kind of do in that moment is just laugh because you're like alive. He's there. Can't believe what you just been through. Like,
yes.
Oh, Sally girl.
Not poor Sally.
I know, but she's a badass. So this one's for you, Sally, and this one's for Tobe because Tobe was a genius. Thank you for making this movie. We really love you.
Despite the fact that everybody said, you'll never be able to make this movie, Tobe didn't listen, and thank God Tobe didn't listen. Yeah. All right, Ethan, let's hear some fun facts.
All right. In the opening scene at the graveyard, the skeleton that was used was an actual real skeleton.
Yeah.
It was actual real human bones.
Nice.
Okay. Tobe Hooper's doctor inspired Leatherface's skin mask.
Really?
I just found this out. Yes. He said that he was talking to his doctor and that his doctor, when he was in med school, he skinned a cadaver. He skinned the face off of a cadaver, and then he cured it and dried it, and he wore it to the school's Halloween party. And this stuck in Toby's head.
Yeah.
So that's where Leatherface actually comes from, was his doctor.
Did he... I'm sure it didn't provide details, but did he carve the face off intending to wear it the whole time to the costume party? Or
Apparently that's what he was taking it off for. So
Ooh.
Dedication to the costume, man.
Right? Wow. I'm like, it's one hell of a cosplay, but whatever.
Eat your heart out, Heidi Klum.
I know.
Right? Okay. Everybody always thinks that Leatherface is number one. They think this movie is a real movie. Obviously, it's not. It's not based on true events. It is based off of the serial killer Ed Gein, which also known as the Butcher of Plainfield. He was the inspiration for this movie. A lot of people think that he was the inspiration for Leatherface, but he actually was not. He was the inspiration for the family.
Oh, gotcha.
Because he was actually a grave robber, and he robbed graves, and he made furniture in his house. So that's where he had got that for the Sawyer family. So the family is actually the inspiration of Ed Gein and not Leatherface. I know many people think Leatherface is, but apparently it is not.
Interesting.
Everybody on the set hated Tobe because of how intense he was at directing. You know, like you were saying, the food was rotten. It was 110 degrees, and he was like, "Nope, scream again. Nope, we're gonna
Yeah.
keep going. We're gonna keep
Yep.
going, keep going." So everybody hated him, but obviously we got one of the best horror movies ever. So
Yeah.
it was
I
worth
mean,
it.
a lot of directors in the 70s got hated on for
Sure,
their commitment to the
sure.
project over the treatment of the actors, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate, but
Well,
it's
And then there
uh,
were, here, it is what it is. If you're gonna do the movie, let's do the movie.
yeah,
So,
some of the
be
greats are like that.
professional. Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
some of the greats were definitely not easy to work with per se,
right,
or they demanded a lot of their actors, but it was a
correct.
good result. I mean, Kubrick was pretty tough on his actors,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
I mean, there's Kubrick movies,
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hitchcock.
yes,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Now, Marilyn Burns, who played Sandy, or Sandy,
Sally, you
Sally. I can't read my handwriting. Okay, sadly, she was cut at the dinner scene in real life.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
the knife had a blood packet on it, and when he cut the blood packet was supposed to go, it didn't, and it actually really sliced her finger. So she started bleeding. So when Grandpa started sucking on her finger, he was actually sucking her blood.
Well, commitment to the bit.
I
Congratulations.
Exactly.
know.
But
That's why it
neither,
looks so real.
yes, but neither one of them actually realized that she was cut and they were sucking the blood until after the shooting.
And then she was like, "Oh,
Yeah, then she's like, "Oh, I'm really cut." So,
Well, to be fair, like congratulations for Sally, Marilyn, for not saying anything and cutting, ending the scene, breaking
oh,
character.
she didn't
'Cause-
even realize
yeah,
that it was cut. I
Oh,
guess,
really?
yeah,
amazing."
I guess it must have
Wow.
been that sharp that she didn't
Yeah.
even realize that it was cut.
Sometimes you don't
Wow.
realize right away,
Yeah,
and then all of a
and
sudden
then
you're
when,
like, "Oh, I'm sliced open."
yeah,
That's
and
valid.
I
Yeah.
guess when he was done sucking and they called stop, she was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I should not be bleeding anymore." So,
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
yes, in the backyard when they had all the skeletons and everything out there,
Sure.
they needed more fill. So they were like, "What are we going to do?" So they got a truck load full of dead animals and just dumped them in the backyard.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, you're on a budget. It's
Yep.
Texas.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it is what it is. Um, when Drayton is prodding Sally with the broomstick while she's
Mhm.
covered in the truck with he was actually really hitting her and
Yeah.
poking her and hitting her. I guess she was like, "Don't worry about hurting me. Just
Yeah.
make the scene look good, make it look real." And I guess every time she would go to get up and he would hit her, she would come up with another black and blue marker, another welt. So
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard that he felt really bad about that too,
yeah,
but she
I bet.
insisted. So
yeah,
yeah.
she was like, "No, do it." John Duignan was actually 20 years old when he played Grandpa, who
Yeah.
was apparently supposed to be, we all say, oh, he's supposed to be like, 80, 90 years old. Apparently, according to the internet anyway. So he was 20 and he was supposed to be 113.
Wow.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
don't know how that's possible, but
It's
that's
Texas. The heat will
yep,
do it to you, man.
Oh,
that's what I got off of the internet. So
Yeah.
wow.
okay, the last thing here is that the chainsaw prop was inspired by a crowded department store during the holidays,
Mhm.
when Toby was out shopping and he was like, "There's way too many people here. I just need to get the
Yep.
hell out of this store." And there
Yep.
was a pile full of chainsaws, and he was like, "If I picked one of these up and just revved it up, everybody would just start running." So that kept in his mind, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre has his tool.
That
Love
is
it.
one of my favorite stories
Yep.
ever because
Yep.
same Toby every holiday season.
Yep.
Yeah. Way to find something that really resonates, with everybody. Turn it into something even more terrifying than it already is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's
All
what
right,
I got
guys.
for fun facts.
Awesome.
Now,
Thank you,
I will
Ethan.
say
Those
this.
were
I
great.
think that Leatherface gets screwed a lot. He should be one of the, I think he should be the fourth face on the horror Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
definitely, he's definitely an OG slasher.
Absolutely. What an
Listen,
icon.
if it wasn't for Leatherface, we would never have had Michael Myers. We wouldn't have Freddy Krueger, Art. Yeah, none
Right.
of them. So, yeah, thank you, Toby.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into rating this movie, shall we? Jamie,
Sure.
let's hear it.
Hold
All
on. Before
right.
we rate, I have a small story.
Okay.
Last year, my cousin came in from New York and he brought his kid with him. His kid's 15. So his kid wanted to come to my house. We were at my parents and he's like, oh, can I come, home with you? And he wanted to hang out with Josh and stuff and watch scary movies and all that. I'm like, yeah, okay, come. So they had just drove all night. They drove like 14 hours from New York. Yeah. So I'm like, have you eaten or anything? He's like, not really. So I stop. I feed him. He's eating pizza, junk food. When he gets to the house, he's like, what do you want to watch? And I'm like, I'm good with whatever. What do you want to watch? So he's like, what's one of the scariest movies that, you have? So I'm like, ever see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, it's an old movie, but watch it. He was like curled up in a ball. He ended up throwing up all over.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that good.
Yeah. Well, you know
That's
how my living room is set up, guys.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, right when you walk out that bar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he made it into the kitchen
Oh
and
my
threw up
god.
and then he threw up all over the bar. Well, I'm happy it was out there and not
Yeah,
on the carpet.
on the carpet. Yeah.
Yeah,
was
that's
like-
better.
He's like, I'm
Oh.
so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. I'm not mad. He kept it. I'm
know.
like, go brush your teeth and take a shower because you smell like puke. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
And
it
also,
literally,
like, wow, what a testament.
it
what a
literally
testament.
scared him so much that he threw up. So
I don't think there's any higher compliment that can be given on this movie.
definitely.
No.
Definitely.
no,
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah.
All right, Jamie, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I will say, you know what? Every time I watch this movie, I want to throw up. I want to puke my guts out in the best way. This is
Yeah.
a 10 movie to me, guys. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks this, okay? But it's a great movie. The cinematography is amazing and honestly really innovative. It's like perfect 70s, perfect horror. Again, that voyeuristic feel. There's a lot of like over the shoulder like shots, like when Sally is tied up, you're looking over her shoulder at one point and you feel like you're in a corner like watching this all happening.
Yeah.
The story's great. The characters are all amazing. Like, I never get tired of this movie. I never will. If somebody were to ask me, give me the top 10 horror movies you have to see in your lifetime, I mean, Texas Chainsaw would absolutely be in it. So it's a 10 for sure.
Okay. Nina?
I don't do 10s. I think I've only
I
done a 10
know.
once. This is really hard. This movie is so iconic. Like, people parody this movie, and even if you've never seen this movie, you know what the shots are from.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And Tobe Hooper, people, like I said, people who are never been horror fans, they know that name. So, with the iconic nature of this film and all that it's done for horror, I have to give it a 9. I have to give it a 9. I love this movie. The rewatchability is high up there. You even though these characters really don't do anything to pull at your heartstrings, that you just feel for them and what they go through, and it's just what a great group of characters. So, yeah, this is an incredible movie. This is a must watch for any horror fan or anybody that is looking to learn more about horror or even filmmaking in general.
Yeah.
That's what's so great about this movie is it did so much for the horror community, but it did even more for filmmaking. So this is an incredible movie. It's a 9 for me.
Yeah.
Ethan?
Gotcha. Oh, definitely an incredible movie. Obviously, love me some Leatherface. Because the family's based on a serial killer. Kind of like that too. You know how I feel about serial killers. And not that I adhere anything that serial killers do, but that's kind of cool too. It is scary without being gory. I love 70s and 80s horror. So that it's a phenomenal movie from start to finish. And of course, it's got one of my favorite kind of girls in it. So
Mhm.
we love us
Yeah.
some Marilyn. I don't give out tens either. I haven't given out a 10. Um, but I would have to say that this would be a 10.
Holy crap!
10,
Yeah.
10, 10. I'm not
Yeah.
the only 10 tonight.
No, I would have to say that this is a 10.
This is groundbreaking. This is the first 10 ever that Ethan has given out. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Y'all know me. I'll put a 10 on so many
Yeah, you
things.
will.
But,
I
but Ethan
don't.
giving it a 10, that says something, guys.
Now,
Wow.
is it perfect? Of course not. Of course
No.
not. It's
No
perfect for
movie's
me,
perfect. Yes.
And
and I
also
will watch it.
historically, it's done so
Yeah,
much.
and I will
Oh,
watch it anytime anybody wants to. I probably watch it
Mhm.
2-3 times a year. But
yeah.
yeah, I would have to give it a 10. So
Wow.
There you go,
Okay.
guys.
There you go. If Ethan can give it a 10, this is a definite must watch if you have not seen this movie yet, right?
yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Happy 50th anniversary, TCM. Thank you, Toby Hooper,
Yes.
for all you've done. Gunnar Hansen, you
God
will
rest her
always be
soul.
Leatherface. Yes.
Yes.
And thank you, Marilyn, for
Mm.
being the
Definitely.
baddest final girl ever.
Chainsaw
Yes.
salute to all of you.
Yes.
The Saw is family, y'all.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Just remember, guys, if you ever find yourself in a horror movie, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs.
And certainly, don't die. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.